Okay, random lunchtime vlog. I actually don't know what I'm going to talk about. We can talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Not a very good movie. It wasn't as bad as the first one, but let's be real, they kind of ruined Carnage. They didn't understand the essence that is Carnage. You know what I mean? It's like I was buying it until he became like this lovesick freak over Shriek. Lovesick freak over Shriek. You know, love will fuck you every time. You know, yeah, it's true, man. The power of love. The power of love compels you. Compels you. I wish I had a Jimmy uh, clip right now. But yeah, I liked it until he became like this lovesick freak, and I really didn't like the fact that he wasn't a perfect symbiote with the Carnage symbiote, like a perfect fusion. Because in the comics, that's what stands apart between him and everybody else, was because they had that perfect bond. You know, that's what set Carnage and Cletus Cassidy apart from Eddie and Venom. And I really didn't like that part of it, you know. But I guess since we're already talking, we might as well just finish talking about this movie and talk about actual spoilers. The thing okay, so let's get back to the stuff I didn't like about the movie, then we'll get into the stuff that I actually really enjoyed. What happened with Carnage, and the reason why I didn't like it, and it had nothing to do with the PG-13, because I thought they did pretty well with the PG-13 rating. And I'm one of those guys like, look, it doesn't need to be rated R at the end of the day. You know, it just doesn't need to be rated R. But the thing that really just kind of bothered me was what they did with Cletus. You know, it was like he basically used Eddie just so he can get a message out to Shriek, because he was in love with Shriek, wanted Shriek to know that she's his girl, you know, all this stuff. And then when they finally get out, you know, it's a constant bickering between Carnage and Cletus Cassidy, and they're just bickering back and forth, where the symbiote does not like Shriek, but of course they're in love, so that causes friction. And that's not the way it is in the comics. It's like that symbiote on Cletus is everything to Cletus. They bond so well because they have that lust for blood, that lust for death, that lust for lack of a better word, carnage. And to see that kind of fall apart toward the end, I thought Woody Harrelson did everything he possibly could for that character, to portray that character, but it just comes down to bad writing. And you know, I thought Andy Serkis did a pretty good job directing it, but when they started having the problems, and you really saw the bickering at the end, and Eddie looked at Venom and said, they're not a good symbiote pair, like they're not a good pair. And I'm like they're not a, like, what do you say, like they're not symbiotic or something like that, or however Eddie phrased it. And I went like this in the theaters, and I was like, well, no, what set them apart was because they were perfect. Because Venom and Carnage always refer to themselves as, we are Carnage, you know, like, we are Carnage, you know, like all that, where or well, I don't know why I'm saying Carnage, but Venom, like we are Venom, you know, it's like, we are Venom. Where Carnage was always, I am Carnage. There is no we. They are so perfect together that they are just I. And that's what I really thought they messed up on there, with the bickering between him and the symbiote and the eye and all that stuff. But other than that, you know, some of the positive stuff that I like in the movie was the scene where they're making breakfast and stuff looks ridiculous in the trailer, but in the context of the movie, it makes sense, because Venom is basically Eddie Brock's bro. They have like this bro relationship, and he just seen that, you know, the girl of his dreams, the girl he loves, is getting ready to marry someone else, so he feels down, so Venom's trying to cheer him up. That's something that we all, at one point or another in our life, can relate to, and you have that one buddy who's trying to cheer you up when you're down. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. And the relationship between Eddie and Venom, I didn't really bother me this time. You know, in the first movie, it really bothered me because it took me by surprise. Like, well, this ain't how Venom is supposed to be. But to me, they're like, okay, I went into the movie knowing that they're gonna have that type of humor, but they never overdid it with that humor. Like, he wasn't jumping in lobster tanks or acting stupid. You know, it was Venom. It was just dialed back a lot, and I think maybe that had a lot to do with Andy Serkis directing. I thought he did a really good job directing. But the one thing that everybody walks out of this movie is the end credit scene, and the fact that Venom is now part of the MCU. We seen the changes happen. We heard the flashes, or we saw the flashes, and then the whole background change, and the Spider-Man thing with Tom Holland pops up, and now Tom Holland is in the Venom universe, or Venom is in the MCU. This is going to lead into Spider-Man No Way Home. I am convinced now in the trailer that shadowy figure was Venom. I am convinced of that more than it's the Lizard. I just feel like it's going to be like an open season on Tom Holland and all the villains, you know, in the past, and Venom. I think they're just trying to combine everything, and it's really done very, very well. The theater I went to lost their shit. I lost my shit. I sat up and I was like, oh my god, they did it. And I enjoyed it for the simple fact is it's starting to feel like we're actually getting Tom Holland as Spider-Man and not Iron Man Jr. They're actually starting to get this stuff into Spider-Man lore, not the Iron Man lore. And the fact that we're getting like all these villains and we're getting Venom and all that, I just found it really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So overall, my thoughts on the movie, I doubled down on the stuff I didn't like, and that was the Cletus Cassidy stuff. I just felt like they didn't understand the character. I don't like how they killed him at the end. I'm hoping with the multiverse thing that they bring him back in one way and he's more of the Carnage that we love. But that was really the downfall for me in the movie. I don't think it's a horrible movie by any means. I give it a solid 7. Because of the end credit scene. I give it a 5 without the end credit scene, which makes it an average type movie, a C type movie, and I give it a 7 for the end credit scene, because that end credit scene and what that end credit scene means easily bumps it up another 2 points on my scale. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on it, guys. That's sort of my spoiler free stuff. Sorry for the car video. I wasn't able to get in front of the camera today. I went to bed early, got up, headed to work. So, but I wanted to talk about this movie. So I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. Until next time, as always, I'm Robert Storms, and that's my opinion. Later, guys.